I'm
Could change their
gonna
speed.
make it
When they're
cord. I'm
done,
gonna record it. Oh my god, this is dope.
when they're done when they're done, the Corvette and the Cruiser and the some other things in the works will also have flyovers applied to them.
That is nice.
Oh, there it is. It's just quieter than usual.
Oh my god.
Oh no, it's a new armor sound orientation thing, so now looking at the ground.
You guys think I want to talk? Go for it. Me too. Mayo and Joey. Actually, and Joey, introduce yourself a little bit. Because you're the founder of this mod.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows me by Jelly, but my full gamer tag is obviously Jelly315. I started this mod because I just wanted variety. I was kind of spoiled with Watershed and figured why not, whenever they left. And we started off with a small mod team. Our first armors looked like powdered gray, blobs, and then over the time we just kind of got better and better, and then we got more funding and stuff like that because Daybreak caught on to using our mods, and they helped us with retrieving some custom assets, and our name got pretty big in the different communities of Arma and Halo. So we had some people reach out and go, "Hey, we made this asset. Do you want to use it?" and stuff like that. And now we're a full industrial production team, and we've got different departments. We've got a texture department now. We've got Mayo's modeling department. We've got both me and Guy, they're handling infusion, trying to teach other people how to do infusion, so we aren't the only ones. And then, I mean, it's just kind of how everything happened.
If I remember correctly, back then, when you started the mod team, you want to be quiet for a little bit. What was that?
It was for our unit. It was kind of like I had watched all the drama go down in the whole modding community, and I did not want to be a part of that. I just wanted to make Halo mods and play with Halo mods, and I didn't want to deal with any of the other stuff. Kind of seemed like a lot of the public mod teams were about a lot of drama, so we just kind of removed ourselves from that. It worked out really well. And then I think it was maybe like a year in, Guy was like, we should just make this public because most units already have the code anyways, since it's not like Arma 3 where you could privatize the mod and no one can really get it unless they get the code or the key. Reforger's a little bit different, so we opened it up to the public, and then I think thinking probably like 5-6 months after that, we decided to make it a public mod rather than a unit mod that was just on the workshop. We removed all of our tags, we removed all of our decals, we just made it stock standard armor again, and created a Discord, and so it happened. But at first it was just because we wanted our own unit stuff and we wanted to make our own stuff without being bothered.
Alright, understand. Well, to be honest, that's kind of a lot smart to do. Step yourself out of the drama box and keep yourself to the old thing. Because at the end of the day, I turned out, I love your mod. There's actually a lot of units out there are not using your mod. So I think you did a very best smart of stepping away from all that. Because at the end of the day, you yourself said they would kind of everyone use it respectfully wise. That's good to know though. The little info. All right. My favorite guy here, Mr. Mayo, because he brought me into the Halo stuff a lot more than Uppercut did, and he got me with the Daybreak. So explain who you are now, then no longer officer, because even yourself, you said you stepped down. So what do you do in the RR mod team?
Yeah, so Mayo, I'm the former Daybreak CEO. I was like the owner of the servers for about a year, and that's when I met Jelly, and we started using their mod. I run the modeling department for the mod, so and the rest of my guys from Daybreak, Havoc and Tanzan, and a couple other newer guys, and we pretty much make all the assets for the vast majority of the assets. So at least going forward, since I joined about 6 months ago, we've produced everything in house to try to move away from like community funded assets or assets that are not designed specifically by us as much as possible. So that's pretty much what I do. But yeah, when I met Jelly, we started to use the at the time it was the 4th battle group mods, and they had the 6 Marine logo, and we even at the very beginning of that mod we acquired that armor and we're using it, and then he popped into an event that we were running, and I met him and started to become friendly with him, and sort of edged my way into the into the group to start trying to help because I wanted to just help make more stuff, and it's
Basically, just sneak
grown
in there.
substantially from
Nice.
there. Yeah.
All right. So we got Spartard here. Nice, nice. What did you do, Mr. Eclipse?
Oh yeah, hey, my name is Stitch. In the Reforger community, I'm known as Eclipse. Here in the Rings of Reforger Discord, I was recently just brought on as their texture artist. I got my first steps into the texturing world via Gmod, a server called IceFuse. I was a texture artist over there for about 3 to 4 years, and then eventually got into Arma 3, which is where I really started to hone my skills in Substance Painter and learn how to do more advanced stuff. After that, moving to Arma Reforger, just a couple months ago, my buddy
No,
bought me in. He was
me.
like, "Hey, check this out." I was like, "Okay, bet." And then, I came across a couple of these guys, and my buddy Fred said that they were looking for more people to join the dev team. I spoke with Jelly, spoke with Mayo, a couple of the other guys. They brought me in as a texture artist, and yeah, now I do a lot of the texturing here in Reforger. So it's a good time. Appreciate the boys for bringing me on.
Oh, nice, nice. Mr. Havoc, what do you do in the team?
I primarily just make models. That is all I do.
All right. And last person, Mr. Tanzen. Hope I said name correctly.
Yeah, Tinzinda Katzen and the RWAR Discord. I'm known as Peanut Butter. But me and Mayo, we joined around the same time. My first ever model was really, really bad. Was the interior of the Paris class frigate. There's a lot of issues with it. I want to revisit it someday, actually get it right. But ever since then, I've been growing myself as a modeler. I did the Marauder, built it from scratch with a couple of references, and the upcoming Skiff was also built from scratch. And I did a couple of the props for the Banished, along with worked on the Scorpion a little bit with the UV unwrapping, which is basically
Well,
taking
don't sell
it out
yourself
so it can
short.
open.
You did the. Don't sell yourself short. You
He
did
also did some of
the
the banished armor
bubble
too.
shield generator. You did a lot of the banished armor. You did the stand-up shield emplacements. You've done a lot, and there's some stuff coming down the pipeline that we won't, fully disclose at this time. But keep your eyes open on teasers. He's been plucking away at assets that are going to be dropping soon. So
You
Yeah,
guys
we've been
flatter me
cranking
too
out.
much.
We've been cranking out stuff. We've just been literally. We're like a powerhouse of development. It's pretty wild, actually, considering how fast we can, get a reference photo and then produce an asset. We've all improved our modeling skills dramatically over the course of the last 6 months, and hopefully, for a long time into the future, we'll continue to at least round out and finish out this project. And then there's also Guy, who's not here. He's in the call, but he's not in game. So, Guy.
You can talk. Andrew,
yes,
Mr.
hello. I'm here. Yes, I exist. I am. I go by my gamer tag is that guy ZP. I have been a part of the team since it was 4th BG, back when it was just me and Jelly making stuff for our old Milsim unit. Originally, I was a pretty terrible modeler. Pretty much making Blender assets on my old work laptop, and worked on the original armor that Jelly was talking about, where it was pretty Play-Doh-y, and the original Hydra, Spanker assets like that. The current SRS, and has since moved into the co-publisher. So I publish and I work on all of the props mods, the Banished ground vehicles, the UNSC ground vehicles, the Banished props, and the UNSC props. So the vehicles, FOBs, intel, ships, everything like that. If it doesn't fly, it's mine. I kind of head up those areas of the mod. I think me and Jelly have been at this for the project itself is a little over a year old now. Between when it was called 4th BG to being called ROR. We've only been public for a few months, really. It's only been like 4 months since we fully went public, I think. And since then, it's been kind of a whirlwind of just how many people really use our stuff. It's been really cool to see and to just watch it unfold as it has to what it is today. So
Good to know. Good to know. Thank
Sadly,
you.
sadly, I do have to head up. I may pop back in later once I get the time.
Bye bye.
Bye,
Nice to meet you,
Peanut.
man.
So we'll start off with the vehicles. It's a very we're missing quite a few because of the update, and it's it is what it is. But we have our standard Warthog that came with the extended Warthog. We got these off of an idea from Gary's mod. A dude made a recreation of it because there was some concern that those models were just ripped or edited. So we had somebody make us one, but it was very unoptimized, and it was like a month-long debate between all the mod teams of if our asset was actually ripped or not. So we just decided, you know what, we'll just do it in-house. We had somebody come in that was a freelance artist. I gave him the models, had him redo everything just to make sure absolutely that nothing was from Halo, and we massively optimized these things to the point where getting near them doesn't cause frame drop at all. We even have it set up to where you can see the full model at about 1,000 meters out, and it doesn't decimate, and you still don't have frame lag or anything like that. So they're very, very optimized models. The wheels are from a guy named McCarthy. That guy makes some really awesome assets. He has a couple of his assets are free, and we couldn't really figure out how to get the wheels right, but that dude's really fucking cool. The textures are from him too. He's he's really good at what he does. He's done quite a few projects I'm sure you guys know about. Like he did the Halo mods for Fallout 4, and
Oh,
he
shit,
did
really?
a fan made product. Yeah, he did all that stuff. We're actually using some of his Fallout 4 assets, like the Spartan armor that Eclipse is in. The base Mark 5B armor is the Halo 4 mod asset that he has. It's free on a lot of things. It's really great. We also use Blends models, which is like our shoulder pads. It's shoulder pads, belts, helmets, things like that. Our blends. We're trying to move away from all that stuff though, because a lot of mod teams use the exact same assets, and it just kind of feels like a repeat of the same stuff over and over and over again. We have a mindset of like, what's the point of remaking the same thing somebody else made? It's just extra work that's unneeded.
Yeah.
But all of these things are set up to be more realistic in how they work, to the point where it's not just a point and click adventure game, but it's also
Yeah.
kind of akin to how Halo is. We do the best that we can trying to get Halo into Arma. The motto that we started when we first started this mod was, we are a modern unit in a Halo atmosphere. So everything is based off of modern technicalities with the Halo feel of everything. A really good example is like the Gauss gun. Realistically, the Gauss gun would absolutely decimate anything it shot. In the games, it just kind of messes it up unless it's an infantry. So we just took the liberty of making it a stronger Gauss gun, because reading through the books and things like that, it kind of seemed more like an anti-vehicle killer from a long range. So we kind of just leaned into that. We're supposed to have 3 armed hogs, a scout hog, and then we did have an armored hog variant of everything. That is currently not in the game because the armor itself was getting corrupted. We do have a medical hog, which does work roughly. It has a few kinks here and there, but we're gonna iron that out whenever Tools decides to stop being Tools thing. And then we have what used to be our hallmark in the game, which is the extended hog. We get a lot of mixed reviews about this thing. Some people think that it's a really cool idea. Some people say, "Why are you ruining my game?" whenever they see it. I think it's a perfect fill-in for the base game. Heavy trucks. It has the same axle components. It has the same suspension.
Yeah.
Basically, just a game overhaul of a 7-ton. And we have all the different
Limbo
variants.
Warthog from Cursed Halo, at least.
Yeah, we have all the different variants, so you can have a Warthog for every occasion. You don't have to have, a 1960s fucking 7-ton with a fuel on the back of it because you need to refuel. We have the fuel hog, we have a repair hog, we have an engineer hog, or the constructible hog where you can build bases out of it and stuff like that.
There's only one current issue with the engineer hog, which is just something I've been combating tools with for a while. It carries and transports supplies, but there's a bug or two that still needs to get fixed. But for the most part, all of the hogs work as optimally as we can get them to be, give or take. The rocket hog, which I took out because the update changed how magazine components work.
Yep.
And since the rocket hog was firing 6 rockets in a burst, trying to recreate that was crashing tools as a whole. So until I can fix that, that's going to be just on ice for a little bit.
Just curious.
But for the most part, the rest of the vehicles are pretty much good to go.
All right.
This
So
one's probably my favorite. This is our command hog. It has
I
like a
said, what
combo
is this
relay
one?
beacon on the back.
Oh damn.
This is a
Yeah,
command
this is
hog, so it has a long range beacon and a CCTV set up on the back. So the commander is supposed to sit in this back seat here and keep eyes on his troops via helmet cams. And then this over here is a long range beacon that extends across the entire map to make LR transmission easier.
Oh, wow.
It's in the progress of being worked.
That's
Yeah, this
cool,
this
though.
thing's going to require a lot of script. We were hoping with the command update we would be able to link stuff to it to where you can actually, turn on a screen and get like a camera view of like what's going on and
Yeah.
direct people with orders and stuff like that. Unfortunately, that update did not pan out, so we have to script all of it ourselves. So it's going to take a while until we can get this thing working. But ultimately, this thing's going to be your field command element.
Get a lot of love for this one because it's a completely unique design for a warthog. A lot of people love the look of it because it's literally extended warthog with a combo beacon on the back. Pretty badass. I like it.
That's cool.
Yeah. We also have our armory hog. We're trying to get it to where you can have guns and magazines held on these racks that are on the side, and then rockets and stuff like that in the back and all that thing. Just that way you can run up to it, grab something, and then leave.
Yep.
But it does have the arsenal inside of it, which is really nice. We have our very first and kind of like baby steps towards creating our own models. This is one of Mayo's original models that he worked on. It
my
started
first
with a
vehicle
concept.
model.
This is nice.
Started as a concept of trying to create something that wasn't a very big hallmark because we really didn't want to fuck up something that was like the Scorpion or
Yeah.
the Pelican. We really wanted to make sure that those were good. So we started doing lore vehicles that were never in game or that were just on Halopedia's like ideas. And this was one of the first ones because I think it was Daybreak was using Bradley's, and we were like, oh, Halo Space Bradley, we'll just make that. Now it's kind of like the staple of a lot of units. A lot of units use it as their infantry fighting vehicle, which is really nice. We have this new one, which I believe both Mayo and Havoc, or no, I'm sorry, Mayo and Tanzan worked on very aggressively.
And
This one is
Yeah, same guy.
yeah, and I'm not too sure what Guy did on it. I don't know exactly what parts he adjusted.
He made it work.
Well, I'm talking about the model itself. I'm not talking about the in-game tools thing.
I optimized it for face count before sending it to everybody, but it's
Okay.
Yeah, it did a lot of work from with the original model. I think Guy acquired a very similar model. A lot of stuff was reworked to be optimized by all of us across the board before it made it. Havoc did the treads. It just was it was like my second foray into working on vehicles. We tried to make it it's like a Halo like Scorpion. It's
What are
got
you
kind of
doing?
mismatches from all over the different. It's like a bunch of different variants
Yeah.
of the Scorpion kind of one, inspired by. It was
This
quite
was
fun to
also
work on.
this was also the test bed to see if we could get reactive armor to work. This is our first destructible vehicle where you have pieces that can fly off.
Yep.
To show how damaged it is and things like that, like the turret crowling and the armor for the actual turret base are able to get absolutely decimated to the point where you're able to see the inner workings. And I did have there was probably about like 2 weeks of sending this model back to make sure that the internals looked proper and everything was set so that we could actually texture it properly and all that stuff. So it's not just a square underneath. You can actually see all the pistons and the gears
The
and all that
detail
stuff
is
rolling
very
underneath
nice.
it.
It's very good. But I'm just
It's,
curious about the texture of the turret, though. Not the texture. When you're in it, I was trying to move like a 360 move, but it's only able to do like a 180 from the left to the right. Is that how it's designed, or is it like a
Are you
full-based?
talking about the turret, the gun turret?
Yeah,
He's talking about the MG turret.
this commander spot.
Oh yes, so the MG turret is designed to just be a suppressive element. The actual Scorpion turret can turn fully. The command MG is designed to only go left and right.
Okay.
But that also is to protect the user. But it's also mostly due in part to how Arma has the commander variants.
Yep.
Kind of how they operate. It's a little tricky to dial in to get the weapons to be used properly, so it's not going to function in the same way as
Yeah.
it does in the game, where you're a lethal combatant the entire
Oh,
time. So
I'm about to get that one guy.
for battle tank purposes, it functions pretty well as just a suppressive element to keep if they're right up on you, you'll smoke them, but
Yeah.
it keeps if there's an AT man down the road or you see an anti-tank group, you can at least keep them suppressed while your tanker is dialed in.
Okay.
So it
Well,
serves its purpose and it serves its function.
well, I'll be the one guy. You kind of killed my game here, buddy. No, just kidding. Yeah, you know, because as a Halo fan, I remember the Scorpion gun can do like the whole body can turn to like 182 from left and right, but it's still that kind of smart though. Because realistically, what you just said, if he does kind of like get flanked or whatever in this game, just one pop, you're done. So understandable.
I mean, initially it was
Yeah, and
designed with that possibility in mind, but there's just limitations to what
Yeah, of course.
basically like the seats in the components inside of tools limit what you're allowed to do. So like this was like our first project to try to test that. Can we put a gun in the commander seat and actually have it fire? And I think I pretty much nailed that.
We should form up
Ooh,
on the
excuse me.
Scorpion for the
it's
thumbnail
also
for the YouTube video.
the Scorpion is also a test bed for designated weak points. So while the majority of the Scorpion has 80 millimeter armor as a collider, there are specific points that are substantially weaker that actually allow you to fight the vehicle more effectively. Some of those points being with what Jelly was saying earlier, the parts of the shroud that blow away, the pieces underneath the shroud, where the shroud itself is 40 millimeter armor, things underneath the shroud are only 15 or 20, so that you are in fact exposing weak points. You also have the ventilation points and the ventilation ports that lead to the physical engine component of the vehicle itself. So those are all things that kind of lead into the Scorpion itself not only just being a massive test bed for different features that we can do in the future, but also being a rather unique vehicle on its own out of the whole package, with just the different features it has in terms of survivability and
Yeah.
just player-based interactive capability.
All right.
Can we tell them about our project we're working on currently?
Is it the
I think all of it's
Pelican?
pretty open.
That was too vague. What are you talking about?
Did you manage to get the render?
No.
Ah, damn.
Yeah, so this is the test bed for a lot of our vehicles. We are trying to shift to a destructible vehicle layout.
Okay.
So everything is going to have a piece that can fall off or that can pop off or whatever it is, because we want it to be more interactive to the point where you don't feel like one of the biggest complaints that we get with a lot of our stuff is it feels like nothing's doing anything. But if you're in Game Master, you can watch the health, disappear based off
Yeah.
of what you hit it with. And that was also a big complaint with the uppercut Scorpion as well. Is it just felt like you weren't doing anything because it took so much. So how we decided to get around that was, making it to where you can physically see that you're doing something to it by having pieces knock off or just completely, explode off of the thing. And then having the weak points as well, to the point where you have to kind of adopt realistic tactics of engaging a Scorpion head on is probably not the best idea. So trying to flank around it to get to the weak fence or the hit the engine directly to just knock it out in one go is probably the best bet. A lot of our newer vehicles are going to be adopting that kind of idea. Not every vehicle is going to be the same though. Like some vehicles might have really small weak points. This one has pretty big ones just because of how the model in all the games are. I mean, it's got massive vents on the back of it, and just like every other tank, if you hit it underneath the turret crawling, you'll probably hit the autoloader, and the autoloader itself is also a hazard. Things
Yeah.
like that. The Grizzly, I think, is going to be significantly harder. I'm not sure, guys, the one that's kind of in charge of how hard these things are to kill.
Yep.
But from how we've been talking, it kind of seems like that's going to be the more big bad UNSC style thing. Behind us, we have the drop pods. These things are what says it is on the box. You know, it's a coffin that you get in and you drop to the ground, and that'll be it. It does have flares to wave off incoming rockets, so you do have some kind of countermeasures. It has
Oh, that's nice.
there's enough fuel to go from the top of the skybox to the ground without turning it off, and we are trying to figure out a lot of, I guess, scripting and coding to make this thing work as it did in lore. We don't really get to see a lot of it in games, just because the only game that you actually do get to see it is either in a cutscene or, well, honestly, that's really it. It's just a cutscene. These things had so many features that you don't actually get to notice or you don't actually know about unless you like actually look at how they were made and things like that. So
Yep.
we're going to have, they're going to be very overhauled. This is more a simple rendition of what they are, but this is one of our first custom assets that we've ever made. I had this one commissioned off of the actual Halo 3 ODST, you know, pictures and renders and stuff like that
Yeah.
of the drop pod.
As bad as
Still needs to be.
inside the drop pod, I'm looking right now. The screen, do they turn on when goes on, or is it still blank?
No, so those are textures right now.
Okay.
We left the screens and gave them just a base texture because the idea is I want it to work like it did in Halo 3 ODST, where the screens actually show you data. The two big screens show you a master and a slave screen, kind of like how sound systems work, where you
Yeah.
have one that connects to all of them, and then that'll display the screen of who's in charge of the pods, things like that. It's going to require a lot of work to get this thing to work the proper way.
Give him a teleport and have him turn the engine on. Let's give him a first-hand experience.
We'll have to set up an entire ship for that. We can do that towards the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right next to us is one of our first outposts that was made. This was from this was a idea from the community. They gave us a couple pictures and they said, we think these would be really cool, and we didn't say anything about it, but I was just kind of like, yeah, that would be pretty fucking cool. This is our LPOP, or, you know, observation listening post.
Yep.
Asset. This is kind of like your field outpost, where you're out in the field, you don't really have a lot of things. This is a small thing that's easy to put up. Really thin walls. It's kind of like a Connex box. We call it the Connex box. It's got a few computer systems here and there. It's more of a field command center than anything else. Next to it, we have the armory. This is based off of an asset from, I think it was Halo Wars. In one of the cities, there was just a random building
It's
that
based off
looked,
the Halo Wars asset.
Yeah, there was just a random building in one of the maps that looked really cool, and you know, someone suggested it, so we used it as a basis, and Havoc made this and the other one from scratch. We kind of tried to organize it because the one in the game was it was 3 stories, and we figured that would be way too big for an armory, so we just kind of made it a 2-story catwalk.
We found out that this is our most used building in the entire mod. If you go to any public Halo server, the chances are they have one of these down.
We decided to go with a style that didn't have windows, so it can be garrisoned and used as a defensive operation. So all of these windows are gun ports that you can shoot out of and have a 360 security around it. It's a bit of a double-edged sword because you're able to make a really nice defense op, but assaulting one of these things with AI that have snipers and machine guns in these windows really fucking sucks.
I'm also working on texturing URF variants of each and every one of these buildings, so soon the indies are going to have their own bases that we'll be able to assault that are the same format.
Oh, is it the classic Halo 3 ending? Oh my god.
Yeah, this is our memorial.
It was one of the first major replacements that I had worked on. There's this very lovely artist out of Ohio, all places, that helped us out with this. It took him maybe 3 days to put it together. It's all based off reference images, and there's not a single I didn't have to send him any sort of 3D model. He just kind of took it and ran with it, and gave us a really awesome asset. Very easy to import, very easy to implement, and all of the images on the fin. The fin dialogue is straight from Halo 3, just because we wanted to keep it as close as we could. But the images are from the original 4th BG group from back in the day, and they're just screenshots between
wow.
us and Daybreak from joint ops and just different things that we played together. So
Yeah.
I hope that in the future we can just as time goes on we can add more and more images to it, just as like a community thing, and we'll just kind of keep growing it out. Yeah, no, this was one of my favorite ones to work on, I think.
No, this
We
is
also had guns and stuff that you can pick up and all that stuff in the front. We still need to fix the BR-55s that are on the side, but
but still, just seeing the
So-
tiny detail of Daybreak and the 4th actually on this is kind of cool to see. Very cool. Damn, this is nice.
yeah, we put a lot of effort in this, making sure that it looked like it did in game. Probably took, I don't know, like 3 weeks to get it right, and then there was also some
Yeah,
spelling
this one
errors
took
that I had to fix. And
a couple of weeks of dialing in and just making sure that it was really on point.
Only thing you're missing on this is me, of course. Just kidding. Oh shit. No, no, this is nice. Oh, what? What man? What John point to?
Oh, I was saying
We
that
got
my
Mayo's
mic
and-
was muted. I apologize. Yeah, a lot of these are from Daybreak and the 4th operations. You may very well be in one of these big group photos from one of the ops that I ran. We just tried to find the best photos to submit that were like the most realistic to what you would probably see, like of camaraderie between troops in the field and stuff that experiences the
Yeah.
guys would have. So it's just a cool little
No,
little
so,
homage
Those are
to
like 95%
our
of those
units.
photos.
so the detail of this is very
Well,
good.
if you look at a few of those images have the classic armor on them as well from one of our first few runs at it. Like we have the classic Fallen Heroes armors on there, a classic Marine armor from probably I would say the third,
first-
second or third major overhaul.
The first Marine uniform right there,
it's all on there.
brown.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the older variants are in there. It's pretty funny actually.
Oh yeah,
you can see Mayo's picture right here.
mustache.
He's standing in front of the blue background, and he's got the big fucking white 6 on his chest.
Damn.
That was one of our older armors.
That's
But
that
I
picture's
think it's
spot on.
I think it's nice to have all these pictures here because you can kind of see the progress that we made. You can see all the different variants, all the progress,
The
and then
memories.
as we add to it, like we still have the right here. See a bunch of dudes in white uniforms and a guy in a naval officer uniform. That white winter uniform was actually the predecessor to the winter uniforms we have now. It was like a pilot undersuit that we fitted and added our
Yeah.
armor onto and stuff like that. But for all the people that followed our mod from the beginning, looking at this thing, you can kind of like see all the different variants and all the different eras and stuff like that of our armor, and it's
We
nice
should just
thing,
push
but we
out
do
a
wanna-
whole different update of our marine armor, like different colors and stuff. We got a desert variant, Black Ops variant, all kinds of stuff that's gonna be coming out here pretty shortly.
Yeah, I got a little sneak peek with that. If you did some of the video, the Black Ops, the Black Ops Marine uniform. Mr. Maya kind of showed me to it.
Yeah, if you check our teasers, you'll see all the stuff that I've been texturing the past couple of weeks, and our marine armor is one of those staples.
I see.
Moving on to the next thing down the list, I just don't want to skip these and have to go back. We have our aircraft, and we took a lot of inspiration of how standard military aircraft works. So
Yep.
there's a lot of attention to detail in designation more than anything. Every single one of our aircraft has a different number, so you don't have repeating numbers.
Oh,
Everybody
yeah, I
can
see
feel
that.
special, and you can have your full
225,
wing.
135.
We also have the
74.
marking locations exactly where they would be with a Marine expeditionary unit. So you have one on the nose, you have one over the wing, and then you have one on the tail. And then the tails all have their own lot numbers, unit numbers, and designation, which is the FV with their tail art. Kind of followed the United
yeah, I
States
see that.
military thing with that, and each one of these wings has a lead aircraft, which has the colored tail art as well.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, the
we have
dust
the newest
particles and
one.
stuff like that is really sick.
The newest one, which is this is the original texture that came with it. Something happened to the texture where it blacked it all out, so we just kind of went with it and said, "Fuck it, it's the blackout Falcon now." I just wanted to use the original textures because the guy that gave us the model, or well, we paid for it, and he said we could use it, but he did a really good job on it. I wanted to showcase his textures, so I put it in the game and all that stuff. I figured it would be also a nice little add-on, so that way a lot of people were getting used to the you know,
Yeah.
pink, green, and the OD and all that stuff. I just wanted to break it up a bit and give somebody some options or something like that, and everybody seems to enjoy this the most. Next, we have our Sparrowhawk variants. We have two of them. We have the classic Halo-ware Sparrowhawk with the giant miniguns. This thing is really deadly in aircraft engagements against ground targets and stuff like that. And then we have our own custom one, which is just kind of like a rocket variant that shoots a shit ton of rockets to decimate any kind of,
With
you know,
the big
trenched.
ass 50 cal right here, I'm guessing.
Yeah, this is a Falcon nose gun that we just stuck on the front of it, so that way it had some kind of
All right. So
Air-
basically, it's basically like air
anti-air
support.
capabilities.
Basically, like this is right here, definitely
Yeah.
air support.
Yeah, so these two aircraft are more like your Apache. They
Yep.
sit off maybe 2 clicks out of your objective, or 3 clicks away from your objective.
Yep.
Behind a hill, they pop up, mow everything down, go back down, and they just kind of sit from that distance.
I see.
And then we have the Samson.
Okay, the
Samson's in the
Avatar.
mod package because it's the Avatar aircraft. The Samson's in the mod because I paid pretty penny for this model when I was first modeling, and I was just kind of like, fucking around with tools, seeing what I wanted, and I thought this model kind of looked cool.
You go inside of it
It
without.
was
Can you go inside without getting into the seat, like right here?
no, this one we didn't figure out how to do the colliders where you could walk in it yet, so it's it's using old colliders where you can't actually climb it and all that stuff. It's
Yeah.
it's a little finicky because this was our first aircraft we ever made. The fact that it even runs as well as it does is kind of ridiculous, but this will probably be going in its own separate mod since the community seems to like it, but it'll be replaced by the Pelican once we get the Pelican going in.
Yeah, I remember Mayo talked to me a few days ago before I uploaded that video about the Pelicans. I remember a long time you guys were talking about making it. So is it like official now, or?
Yeah, so the reason why it took
Yes.
us so long is the Pelican model that we wanted to emulate was actually a model that the Halo community as a whole had created. On Halo Archive, some dude got a mashup of a bunch of different Pelican assets, and he added a whole bunch of features to it. And we really wanted that idea because it seemed more realistic than all the other Pelican models. Like it has a ramp that goes down to the ground. It's got, the gun rack that slides
Yeah.
all the way to the back, where when the door opens, the gun will slide forward, and you'll have an MG in the back. A lot of the things that it had made a lot of sense. The only issue was we didn't have any modelers that were able to pick up that task
Yep.
because it's massive project. And then we had one guy, but he wanted like almost $2,000 for it. So what took so long is us building the money so we can actually make it. He's almost done with it. He says by the end of the month, it's probably going to be done. So that's going to be great. We're going to get one of our partner teams from Arma 3 to texture it. They're Mizrahi Armory. They do the Mizrahi Armory mods on Arma 3. I looked at their textures of their Pelican that they have. It looks absolutely perfect, 1-to-1 to how the game looks. So I'm going to have that guy do the same textures for our stuff, and we'll be getting that SSP afterwards. I don't know how long it's going to take him, but that will be in the game here pretty soon. The entire Arma Reforger Halo community contributed to that, so that was really awesome. Our next props is we've got these crates. It's
Yep.
probably one of our first ever props that we ever made. Real simple crate.
The old adage: every dev team starts with a crate.
Every game, every modeler starts with the crate, isn't that the truth?
Yeah, so well, they start with a donut or a crate. The good ones start with a crate.
Alright.
So
Um,
these metal barricades are a recent addition to the placeables mod.
Yep.
Mayo initially made some pretty stellar
Hey,
concrete barriers.
man,
There's a
can
few
you
of them
sit
that
over
are
here?
still in the mod just because of scale, and then just because of scale, a few of the concrete barriers are still in there. But for the most part, we are using the metal barriers now. They are armored up to, I believe, 60 millimeters. A lot of our AP rounds do penetrate it because we have some pretty high velocity AP rounds. They also do have destroyed models. They're very weak to explosive
Yeah.
damage, which is something that I've been playing with up and down. But they can be ripped in half depending on how much explosive damage they take, which of course
I see.
compromises the integrity of the armor.
So that barrier does protect you.
But you know
Yes.
that's
I just shot the fuck out of it behind with Joe behind it. God damn.
Yeah, only
wait,
3 rounds
what?
went through this one out of that one burst. So,
Oh, there's the destroyed
Wait,
version.
wait. So
if it
there.
takes enough,
Wait. There are plates. Oh, I just clicked my head. There are plates there. That's. Oh my god.
they're replacements for the concrete barriers that we had initially outside of the large concrete corners, as those are the largest in scale in terms of cover that we have.
Yep.
But in terms
they
of the
take too
medium
much
size,
damage, they turn into
we're
a
gonna
different
start
mesh.
phasing them out. Once we start building up larger barriers, we have a few more that are being workshopped in terms of how we want them to function.
I see.
And once those are ready, they will probably phase out the larger concrete
So
corners,
what do
which
you
I
mean
believe
phase
those
out?
concrete
Like,
barriers were
what do you mean by
just
phase out?
replacing the assets.
Okay.
Replacing the assets. So
So
this was my
basically,
first
just
model
replacing
that
it.
my first asset that I ever made for ROR were these barricades. There's a series of them. Some of them have already been phased out. I actually made these in SketchUp, hilariously enough, and then imported them into. I didn't know how to use Blender at the time, and I imported them into Blender, and then tried to optimize them for game.
I see.
And they were just like something I had an idea of that they were missing, and I thought, well, I could try to make something. And
You did
like
this
I
in
said before,
SketchUp? I did not know
I,
that.
trying to weasel my way into the team to help make stuff. I was like, I got to
Holy
produce an
shit.
asset, but I don't know how to use Blender, so I came up with this, and then
But those
For
the
SketchUp, that's pretty
but
impressive. I'm
for
not gonna lie.
that is person. But I'll go back to these barriers. You gonna keep them right, but you gonna change the acid if I'm hearing this correctly. You gonna keep them how they are, but
yeah,
no,
these
so
are
the new metal ones
Yes,
are
the
staying.
the
They're
metal
the ones
barriers
replacing the
are
concrete ones.
yes, the
okay.
metal barriers are replacing the concrete barriers as they are. Due in part a little more game accurate, but also because Mayo, in his own words, I hate those concrete barriers. Let's get rid of them.
Like this is it's so like close to being actually lore though. Like I like it, but it's my
well,
opinion.
I have another thing. I have other barriers I'm cooking up too. Like these are
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
a pretty
we have
simple
some
asset.
stuff that's being worked on.
Like
Alright.
Working on
our
the
skill
our-
6 as
our
we
s-
speak currently.
our skills have improved a lot, so we're trying to just make better stuff as we go.
Of course.
And
Yeah,
just
in
phase out the
terms of
stuff.
like with the idea of like phases of destruction
What's up,
and
buddy?
components being visually destroyed, where we are working on some more barriers that follow that kind of scheme that we're currently
Wow.
working on in terms of destructibility.
Mayo, stop getting my way.
Especially now that we have a fully fleshed out dev team, it definitely helps with the process.
God damn it. Oh
You have to
wait.
mount your gun.
Oh, I got my
If you
gun.
mount it, you'll
Oh.
There you go.
Mayo, stop getting the crossfire.
This is the biggest undertaking that we had for buildings. Havoc spent close to a month working on this thing because it was he built it, and then we had to change a bunch of stuff, and then he had to re-unwrap a bunch of stuff, and it was just a nightmare to get working properly. But this is our MOB, our main operating base. It has 3 levels. This is our this is going to be like the center of a lot of major operations, things like that. We have full interior walkways, things like that. We just didn't want a building that was just a building. I had Havoc design an entire interior with walkways, and I didn't want a lot of choke points because I didn't want this to be like and any good military installation has multiple egress points. I didn't want it to be just the one stairway of doom as you get fragged trying to get up to the second story. So there's 2 stairways to every level. Each level serves a different purpose. The first level is more, basic stuff, supplies, all that. The second level is more administration, which we haven't filled out all the rooms yet, because there are a lot of rooms to fill out. It also has the
Easy to get
overlook to
lost
the
in
hangar.
here.
It also has the overlook to the hangar or the vehicle bay. The third story is more the, I guess, logistical side of things. You got your barracks, you got a medical station. It's going to have a couple offices, and then you have your briefing room with the table and all that stuff. A lot of this stuff hasn't been fully fleshed out yet because we're still waiting on our Halo-ified assets to give everything a more Halo feel inside of here. But we do have a little bit here and there, so it's pretty nice.
I just finished
I'm not
texturing
gonna
the
lie,
new version of this
I got
pod
lost
too.
in here. In his building, this
Yeah, dude,
Oh.
it's a big building. It doesn't look very big from the outside, but whenever you
No.
get into it, it's very big. And then we have both stairways go up to Alpha Deck or the roof with the landing pad. And the landing pad is big enough for a Falcon, and it should, keyword should, be big enough for a Pelican,
yeah.
whenever we get ours. But
I remember this
might be too
little
short.
landing pad from the Reach.
If you look in teasers in the Discord, you'll see the URF version of this that I'm working on. It's
So
essentially
this,
the same thing with a bunch of URF logos and red paint and stuff.
Yeah, this model was created off of the model that was in Halo Wars, but the model that we based it off of was the Rhino tank landing platform, where it was just a giant landing
Something
pad
like
with
that.
hydraulics underneath it, and we decided
yeah.
let's just scrap the whole hydraulics side of it and just make it a full building. But Havoc knows what went into it with that because he was the one that sat there for a month building it.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Alright.
the reference
cool.
picture as well. The scale to the Rhino to the rest of it did not line up. It was very mixed mash in its ratio, being the command deck part to what the Rhino's size is. It was a mixture of being a 3 or 4 level building to being a 1 level building.
Oh wow. Command table, I'm guessing.
Speaking of
Yeah, so
Halo
this is
Wars
our-
assets, where is the heavy vehicle depot? Has it been pulled?
They could call it
temporarily?
that. It's like a hollow table.
No, it's
Oh,
not.
it should be in there. It's in there. There's the heavy vehicle depot and the other hollow table are floating around in there somewhere.
So this over here does it function? Holy shit.
We're working on a Banished version of this right now. I'll be texturing that here pretty soon, but it's gonna have an emissive layer that has a glow to it, and whenever you turn it on, it'll actually have like a hologram that pops up.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So we have two variants of this right now. We have the standard one. We have the one that with the Paris class little decal on top. The Paris class thing doesn't really do much. It's just something for you to look at, really. We were trying to figure out holograms with this one, and the guy figured it out.
Still,
Nice.
yeah, that one was like the WIP of getting holograms together, and then the banished hologram when you get over there was the kind of really dialing it all in. There's another cryo pod variant as well that is enterable that took me some time to figure out. I had to create a nifty little trick for that to work. But the current cryopod was based off of a 3D model that my friend made for 3D printing.
Yep.
That I made game ready with the help of some texturing from Jelly, and then just dialing everything in to make the glass see through and getting padding in the back. It's a combination of Jelly's textures and some in-game stuff. But you can use it for you can you can sit in it. You can put a character in it if you want to. Yeah.
Wait, I have to decide.
To look at the glass.
That is
So you can have your
crazy.
your little story out moment from Combat Evolved when you're coming out of the cryopod.
It's really good for areas if you put it
And
in
then at night
operations.
it has a super intense emissive at night, which was kind of an accident, but it looks cool, so I didn't fix it.
No,
Makes
it
it
does
look like
cool.
it's iced over.
No, for real.
You can barely see the
But I'm
person
gonna-
inside of it, which adds to it.
Then we have our crates here. We have an open and closed one. We do have quite a few different crates for the prop mod that
Yep.
Guy has been kind of putting off for a little bit because we have more important things to worry about. But we We have like the Halo 3 crates and the palleted crates and all that stuff that are coming out. We have our mission critical props here. We've got our computer. We have a chip. We have the actual thing from Halo Reach, and then we have the thing from Halo Reach with the chip.
Oh wow.
These were these were fun to figure out. Kind of just understanding collecting props, and then a lot of these were community based. Once I figured out that I could make collectible intel and how to do that, we put out a feelers to the community of, hey, like, let's do a little upvote spreadsheet form of if you want this, like, upvote it and I'll make it. So I made the field laptop, or the field computer, is a ZP original, which took some time getting the containment unit sorted out. That was a lot of fun. Kind of just getting that all dialed in and made. The chip was made from another artist, just because I was having no luck with it, but it turned out very nicely. And then being able to combine that with the containment unit makes for some really fun op pieces.
So the chip though, I just picked it up. Does it do anything, or is it just prop?
No,
It's just a prop.
mostly it's just a prop.
Okay.
It's just collectible intel. I foresee a future when it will have a function, but for now it's just a piece of intel, just to kind of help GMs flesh out different operation settings.
There's Arsenal box. Nice.
So
Guy
if
also
Make it
found out how
corrupt your
to.
advisor or something would be cool.
I also found out how to get it to the point where you have to carry it, so you can't actually engage people while you're carrying the canister. To make the grabbing the intel a little bit more stressful, so people aren't just running around and doing things. It kind of like puts a limit around what you can and can't do with it.
Oh, nice.
Then we have
There's
our arsenal.
We also have a Fury bomb, which is, I believe it's currently out of the config, because the last update kind of nullified what we're able to do in terms of particle effects. It'll be in the modded tab. That was also a carryable explosive. I was using a GMFX dependency in combination with my own tinkering. But because of the script limitations that have been implemented by Bohemia, that is currently on the back burner until I can get it fixed. But that was also another prop that is in progress and will come back shortly.
I see. Last time I see this design for Arsenal box, because this is the Arsenal for Halo, was Arma 3 J Raptor. His guys were doing like a mini series of Halo stuff, and they were in the frigate, I believe, and the room was full of this, which was very cool to see. Am I able to pick this up, and does it disappear?
Yeah,
It
we're happy to
does.
say that this arsenal quite literally has replaced the base arsenal in most, if not all, Optray server, or not Optray, but most, if not all, UNSC servers. It's pretty cool to load in and see this arsenal instead of just a regular box.
No, this is nice.
The concept for this was not only does it function as like your bacon loadout or arsenal box, but it does have a few key weapons on the outside. So if you really do not have time to open the arsenal box, you can run and grab something and then run right back out if need be. Which that was a concept that Jelly really wanted to make sure was functioning properly and hammered home that we can get that going, just for not just realism's sake, but accessibility's sake. I think it turned out really nicely.
These table props are nice.
Yeah, that was based off of the Halo 3 ODST, drop pod room where they're grabbing their shotguns and SMGs and stuff like that. We based it off of that exact one. Then we have these tables, which we found just on a generic 3D website. It's just a sci-fi table that looked pretty in tune with Halo, and we did a couple edits to their textures here and there, and it was a thing where we had to spend, I think it was like $30 to get full rights to it. So that's what we did. We got the extended, like, what was it?
God
We got
dang.
we get the personal use. We got the company use, where we can make up to like, we can make up to like $20,000 on our project before we have to pay royalties or something like that. But this being a free mod team, we weren't even worried about. We just wanted to get the extra security. because it is, you know.
Yeah, our development teams are key to us making sure the mod works perfectly. So we go from our modelers who make the assets from scratch in Blender. Then it goes to me, which is the texture artist, along with Jelly. We texture the asset, make it look all pretty, and then we pass it off to our coding team. And our coding team puts it in game for everybody to enjoy.
I see. All right. Is there anything
It's-
else? What was
Yeah,
this?
keeping with the Halo
Um,
Wars theme, this is another one of the things. And another thing I'd like to say about the vehicles before we move on is that one of the coolest things about them that I think is really cool is the features that they all are basically utilizing the vanilla Arma, the core features of all the vehicles.
Yeah.
There's one vehicle that'll do everything that is available in the base game, and the same thing with like this building. This basically doubles as like a heavy vehicle depot. It's basically a reskin of the heavy vehicle depot to look more like the one from Halo Wars 2, which is an asset that I produced basically from reference photos of the one from Halo Wars 2, as close as I possibly could.
I see.
The way that it's currently laid out is there's two separate kiosk points. I'm going to make sure that they actually have a proper asset, so they don't just look like the base game kiosk point. But the ramp itself contains a repair and refuel AOE field, so it does actually function like a massive repair depot. Um,
This is off topic, but it's also not at the same time. But the vehicles, I remember when you guys the first prototype of the Warhogs, the wheels did not turn like the wheels.
No.
And
the
What-
the
how do
wheels
you
didn't
guys-
turn or have suspension. That was an undertaking.
I was about to say, how do you guys manage to fix that? Because it's phenomenal.
Learning. That was one of my first big projects when I joined, and when it was just me and Jelly. It was a lot of asking the community, being called an idiot by the community, and then figuring out how to do it by myself. Community as a whole, there are quite a lot of very extremely helpful developers out there. Bacon is extremely helpful. There's a lot of other teams that really do help a lot of the community, but with most things there is another side of the community that but to actually be able to sit down and figure it out on my own, I think was better for the long run, because now we're a relatively independent team, outside of a few things here or there.
All right. So this is also off topic as well, but not as type of. This is still related to you guys, Monty, because I just hit pause, and why did I just give me a good vibe as a kid, seeing like the Halo 3 pause button, like hitting pause. Oh my god! It also like something like to like the Halo 3 main menu.
Oh, the UI.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because-
that was
Yeah, the
actually
UI
done by
was,
one of our guys. Go ahead.
The UI was made by
Slayer,
a
I think
guy that
Slayer.
works with Mayo. His name is Slayer. He's been creating the UI off in the background for quite a while. This actually isn't our full team. We do have a few people that are. We've got one of our scripters who did the jetpacks. It's a very less known mod that we have because it's still kind of like a work in progress.
Yep.
But we do have working jetpacks. His name is
Ozzy.
Yeah, Ozzy.
Oi,
He
oi.
made the script to make the jetpacks work and things like that. We also have our UI guy. Pretty much, he works everything that is in the UI interface. Everything that turned blue for you, things like where it changes it to Forge, early retirement, return to combat, things like that, and then also the loading screen getting into the server, the Game Master. If you go into Game Master, you will, or it's called Forge in this mod, but you'll see that there's a different cursor for controllers. We couldn't get the different cursor for PC just because it defaults to your PC's mouse. So that's not anything that we could have adjusted.
But yeah, I see the cursor. It's like the original Forge cursor, which is awesome.
All of the different colors, like if you open up the filters list in the entity browser, everything is a blue tone rather than the typical orange and green, things like that. He's been very good with
Yeah, I see
ensuring that
that.
all of that is
Nice.
working properly, which is awesome. And then
You're double speaking in game, by the way, Jelly.
yeah, I know. I just stopped it. Towards the end of our showcase here, we have the two big ships.
The Orca,
the Orca
was a model that we found, and we were just like, that's cool. And then we did a community pool on what to call it. I think somebody from Daybreak said call it the Orca, and it had like 47 upvotes or something, and the next closest one had 10. So we ended up calling it the Orca,
I see.
which yeah, so it just kind of
The,
stuck. Now it's kind of like a namesake for the insurrectionists.
We were gonna do. We didn't want to do the thing where the insurrectionists are just using another Falcon. I wanted it to be like a profile thing. If you saw this thing in the air, you knew it was an enemy. That way, we didn't have the stereotypical. Why did you shoot the friendly Falcon? I didn't know it was friendly issue.
Yep.
So we kind of gave the insurrectionists their own vehicle. That's why we're also giving the insurrectionists their own armored vehicle. So you're not just using a Scorpion and then you
Yeah.
have to like second guess if the Scorpion's friendly or not. You can look at it and profile it based off of the asset that it is, because we don't want them to be just a copycat or a
Yeah.
reskinned, red version of the blue guys. We want it to be a fully fleshed out. Like these guys have their own manufacturers, they have their own systems, they have their own way of doing things. We just don't
Their
want
own
it to
armor.
be a copycat.
Yep.
Yeah. That's also why they have different versions of our armor. If you notice that we are wearing armor that looks a little bit more high tech than theirs just kind of looks like the old school, iteration one of our stuff. We're trying to keep it that way, so that way you can look at it and realize, okay, that's not one of us. Friendly fire is a really big issue when everybody's wearing the same armor, so this is how we get around
So what are these big
that
guys?
issue. These are the insurrectionist Spartans. We call them Onis.
These guys are mean, man. My worst enemy.
You can read it in their armor. If you actually kill them, you can pick up their armor and you can read the little excerpt. But it's essentially they based it off of like the Japanese demons and things like that.
Yep.
But then it was also kind of a slap in the face of Oni, who created the original Spartans to the URF, because name it after the thing that created it while you're using their tool to kill them, pretty much.
Yeah.
So that was the idea. They have some really fuck off weapons. If you encounter an entire squad of these things, we tried to make it to the point where if you saw them, you knew that you were taking pretty heavy casualties. So this dude has an MPMG. This will rip through pretty much anything except for the Scorpion armor. Massive fuck off machine gun. It's
damn.
made to be unfair. Then we have the MA5D, which is the big brother of all the MA5 series. It's got a really big round, sounds really beefy, is able to penetrate most
This
armors
was in
in one
Halo
shot.
5, right? MF5 was Halo 5.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That asset is also made by McCarthy.
Oh, nice.
Really good, and he also did the texture. He's a really good fucking artist. He also did our 5B as well. We have the Arc. This thing is basically a one-shot kill for most medium to light vehicles, and it will pen the Scorpion, so you're not safe inside that thing if you see one of these. And then we have this guy with the grenade launcher, is just crowd control for anybody that tries to get too close with weapons that will take them out. Weapons that do reliably take them out are closer range, like the PDW, the shotgun, things like that. So he's there just
rotary
to
grenade
deter you from
launcher.
getting close.
The rotary grenade launcher was a point of contention for a lot of people in the community. It is a very niche weapon from Combat Evolved. It is the XM15. One of our older community members brought it up to us and said, "Hey, we can fit this in because this isn't lore." And we were like, "Cool, you found it, so we can work it in."
Yeah.
But it does exist. It is a thing. There's a lot of people that are like, "That's not accurate," but that's
For
not true.
reference, if I were to solo one of these guys as a Spartan, it would be at least 3 to 5 minute fight. They're pretty fucking rude.
They're also more tanky than our Spartans, so you're always at a disadvantage. It forces our Spartans to be a little bit more.
We didn't get the shotgun, did we? Shit.
We do have these vehicles. They're a little busted right now because the update really fucked a lot of our prefabs and things like that.
I'm still fixing these things up. They're still getting put back together piece by piece. But
so what's the name of this one?
This is our
This
Marauder.
is-
This was Tanzan. Actually, if you want to take it away, you built this thing from scratch.
This is the Marauder that I was talking about earlier. It took a lot. I think it took a total of 10 hours? But it has damageable plating on it. There's like an internal engine to it. It's really nice, and basically, it's a Revenant with. It's just more. It's a punk rock Revenant. That's how I'd describe it.
All right.
Custom audio,
It is a slightly more, more punk rock, a bit faster, more rugged variation of the Revenant with a higher higher damage cannon on the back of it. I can't hear the in-game sounds right now because of where I'm at, but the sounds for this are all custom. The particle effects were stuff that Jelly and I sat down and kind of figured out together. It's the same thing with the damage modifiers. The Wraith is a custom asset as well from Mayo, who helped put it together based off of an asset that we got from the Iron Fist team. So big shout out to them. Iron Fist was a brute based Halo game that I think it was unfortunately it was DOA, not on arrival, but they did. I reached out to them and they were nice enough to send us a few of their custom assets that we built off of. So the Wraith is some Iron Fist mixed in with Mayo's personal touch to get it ready to be banished. Like so, all of the armor plating you see on the front, the aggressive minesweepers on the end, and the cannon, I believe, are all completely original by Mayo, and it came out so incredibly nice and very accurate. So I couldn't be happier with how this looks. In terms of how it functions right now, it's still a little scuffed from the update. I'm still trying to
Pictures like a
get
brick.
that going. The
I know,
Cool's
come on,
Cool's is
function.
a bit of a fickle mistress right now, so
I'm at the
yeah.
minesweeper.
Um,
It's kind of terrifying. I'm just
Yeah,
imagining myself seeing those coming down a
there
fucking
is
road. It's terrifying.
yeah, there
If
is
I'm
a
correct, Mo,
functional
Jelly said he
command
wants the
command reference
banish to
on the front of
be
it.
completely distinguishable. So, like, instead of the banish just having repainted Covenant stuff, he wanted them to have spikes. Essentially, just look like
Yeah,
the brutes
that
took
was
over the design.
that was a
Yeah.
big thing for me was that even though in lore, the Banished did kind of just acquire a bunch of old Covenant things that they really did make it their own. And I really hammered that home with how I wanted the vehicles to look, as well as the props. The armor is another thing that you're looking at now. There's one set of armor that was custom made by Tanzan, which came out incredibly well. This blue armor that you're all standing in front of was, let me find their name really quick, is a custom asset from another team that is currently working on a Halo 3 ODST custom game experience where you play as a brute. So just another brute project. Let me find their name really quick because I'm gonna feel bad if I don't get it. Their name is
While he
Talca.
does that, we're working on
Their
a
name
brute
is
chopper. currently.
yes. Their name is Talca. They are a fantastic 3D modeler. Their project is still unnamed, but I want to give them a shout out for letting us use this armor and more armor kind of in the pipeline for them as well. They're very openly sharing with us. So that was a huge thank you to them.
Were
But
they
it all came out
inspired
very
with Halo
nicely.
2 original Halo 2 graphics? Because the Halo 2 graphic looks like Halo 2 graphic in a way, almost.
For the physical brute.
Yeah, not the armor, but the
Yeah, it's
physical.
a Halo
So
2 model.
the physical brute itself, the model was I acquired the model from a machinima creator or whatever you call those like SFM films now. He made a brute from scratch to do animations with. We then had it shipped out to get the hair textures done properly because hair is kind of a fickle mistress in terms of getting it kind of all dialed
Yep.
in and not just looking like a bunch of plates all over the character. And Jelly really knocked it out of the park with getting the rest of the textures for the character put in game properly.
Rabbit hyena.
Yeah, no, I think this one was pretty stellar. This was one of our larger projects that we were doing with a little bit of hush hush in the background.
Yep.
This is the Ganymede armor. This is a fully custom armor set from Tanzan, and it's pretty badass. I don't know about you, but it looks lethal.
The helmet comes from actually a Halo Infinite character, but I made it all myself, just took a reference image from it, built it all up from the ground. I think it came out super fucking nice. We may be adding a tech suit under it in the future, just to kind of flesh it out a little bit more. Make it look a little bit, higher tech. Even though the Banished really didn't have all that much technology, they did have some. And
Yeah.
I'm really happy with how it came out.
We did have bigger brutes. The update broke that. We had to downsize them to make them stable again. Our mod team values stability over cool shit, so unfortunately these things were like double your size. Walking up to them, you came up to their waist. They were a very, very scary monster to fight whenever we first released them, but then the update kind of messed that up, so now they're kind of
Oh yeah.
Timu
I
sized.
Yeah, they're
the
still pretty huge, but not
Still
nearly as
big.
lumbering as they were
Bigger
before.
than your
yeah, I remember
average Spartan.
the first video I did of showing the Banished stuff. I did a little side by side showing like what the different heights. Because not gonna lie, the lore wise, you guys are on point. Like that's crazy to see. In this game, you see actually the actual size of a brute. To be honest, even looking right now at the Spartans are supposed to be a little more taller than the Marines. And a little bigger. People just hug each other nice.
I think one of our largest difficulties in trying to get it as close as we can to getting it right was the grunts. I know me and Jelly had a lot of late nights sitting there and
These grunts are
deliberating
nice.
exactly how we wanted to get them in.
These grunts,
Grunts are pretty damn peak.
They are not without their little quirks, but they get the job done for the time being until we have one member of the team here that's missing currently. His name is Big Boss. He's our animator. He is getting ready to gear up and kind of try to figure out how to get these guys really dialed in. But for the time being, I think they came out really spectacular.
they did.
Which
They
is
did.
rigging it was one thing, getting it in the game was another thing. So Jelly really knocked these guys out of the park for the most part.
The armors reminds me of like a Halo 3/Halo Reach type of armor.
Yeah, we didn't want to just do one armor set because the base asset only came with orange. We wanted them to look where it wasn't like a copy and paste. You're fighting the same asset over and over and over again. We wanted to give them more variety. These guys were made by the same modelers that made the Wraith, I think. Right? Do I have that right, guy?
No,
I was the one spearheading
the
this
grunts
project, so I'm kind of.
were. Let me find that for you. The grunts were made by another artist, not by the Wraith guys. This was an independent artist. Let me pull up his name for you so we have some accuracy. You can keep talking in the meantime about some other stuff if you'd like to while I find this name.
All of our guns are credited in the description. There's so many artists for all of our guns. Like I can't remember all their names. I'm blanking on all of them. But there's especially for the Covenant weapons, there's like maybe 6 or 7 different artists for the weapons that we got and things like that. It's just I don't remember all the names, but we didn't make any of the Covenant weapons. We just we used free assets that other people had, or we bought assets that other people were selling. All of the sound effects that we had were we listened to how they were in a large amount of our sound design came from Halo 3. We kind of like listened to how they sounded, and we got the ripped sounds and all that stuff, and we listened to it, and then I spent maybe $500 in a system called Pond 5 where I just grabbed a whole bunch of sample sounds and tried to get it to sound as close as possible. So some of them don't sound. Some of them don't sound close at all, and others, it was very easy to figure out what it was. Like the needler was just a glass table that was breaking, or like a glass vase that was dropped, or something like that, and they sped it up real fast, so it sounded kind of like that high pitched squeal that it makes. The plasma guns were just a generic sci-fi engine sound. We sound design is very important because you can have a really good-looking asset, but if it doesn't sound right, no one's going to like it. So that's how we get around some of our less than pretty assets, is making them sound really good.
Not to just to double back, the grunts were made by an artist named Bandito that I met in a forum a few months ago, and then he turned out to be a CG trader artist.
Yeah, regarding our sounds, our grunts love nipples, and our brutes fight for the matriarch. So
for Atriox, hell yeah.
They fight for Atriox.
The Atriox.
Yeah, so
this is our
this
our
Phantom is another asset. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I don't know who made it, so
It's
guys.
The Phantom is another asset from the Iron Fist team. So shout out to them for letting us use their stuff. This was another one that I shipped over to Mayo after working on it for a bit myself, and with in tandem with some reference photos and the actual base Phantom that it was initially, Mayo was able to create some custom additions to it to really flush it out and give it that banished feel from Halo Infinite. So we have the more aggressive front wings, the more aggressive tails on the end,
Yep.
just to really dial it in, give it that banished look, with the emissive decals on the front as well, just to set it apart from because the banished were separate from the Covenant, so a lot of our assets were really try hard to make sure that they were set apart, as they were their own independent faction.
Which is so smart.
There are
Most of our banished assets
door
are going to be
gunners
getting a
coming.
texture rework here soon too. So.
There are door gunners coming soon for the Phantoms as well.
This is the Banshee package. They're all the same asset, just different things. I think Mayo created the blasters here, but everything else was based off of the same model. This was actually created by a mod team for Roblox, of all places. They
And
made
the
a
armor.
really good asset.
We Banishified it. It was armor too.
Yeah, we
all.
put the armor on and all that stuff, but they made a really good base asset for us to base everything off of, and everything's free use. I'm not really sure what's going on in Roblox, but they have like an entire database of all these assets that they made that they gave to everybody or gave to the community. Like they have ships and guns and all that stuff. It's like this massive thing that we found. The Seraph also was created by that team. We weren't able to figure out how to get it to work like it was supposed to, because it's a space fighter, so it kind of shoots off and does random things that don't really meet physics standards. So in atmosphere, we just made it a bomber. So it has a bunch of bombs that Tanzan made the base of the bomb, and I textured them to be purple and blue so that we can kind of see them, and they have their own sound effects. They're actually reusing some of the sound effects of like the Phantom and things like that with the engine whir and all that stuff. These things dropping is a very scary thing. You're able to hear them come in, and they have like a very mechanical, like engine sounding, I guess, whir to them. And they're able to devastate a whole. Oh, he just dropped all of them.
And destroyed himself in the process.
I'm about to say he himself destroyed.
Man.
Way to go, me. Way to go.
Other planned banished assets for the future that we're working on currently.
Yep.
The Brute Chopper. The Brutes are getting a motorcycle that we've been working on, culminated together. The Space Pickle, aka the Antimatter Bomb, now has a banished version that we just finished up.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, keep an eye out for those. We got all kinds of projects in the works.
All right.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that we're working on that we're throwing ideas around, like. We got the skiff coming out, the banished version of a warthog. It's a giant thing that a bunch of brutes hop into and kind of slide into battle.
Nice.
Also got a lot of mission statement props and things like that, staple assets that are going to be crazy for game masters, to where you don't really have to work too much. You just place one thing down, and that is the op is fighting on that or taking that thing out.